him guidelines for how he would do it. Now, I don't have the bare bone requirements for it because that's not something I have been able to work on with Brandon or whoever the general will be at the time. So
Okay.
obviously, when I get in there, that's something I want to do. And
Do you ever have
honestly,
an answer instead of waffling?
Okay. So we're,
so
we're
this guy,
gonna we're gonna push past this. Although I somewhat agree with this with what he's saying. The way that I'm putting it is you're placing a blanket argument on top of a really big problem. Large, I'm gonna ask that you bring MPI kernel Havoc download up to the stage.
wait,
I'd
can you
like to
let
hear
Super
his
talk?
thoughts about. Huh?
Super's been asking to talk. I don't know if he's muted or if he's muted by himself.
I
He's-
think he muted himself, but can we bring the
I just
kernel
want
up
to make
here
sure
real
that
quick?
we're keeping on schedule here. So, let's spend a few more minutes with Daniel's campaign, and then we're going to switch back over to Matrix's for just a little while, and then.
Okay.
Once we bring you your top of the hour results, we're going to pivot to the Secretary of State election once again. So,
Okay. Can we bring the
Can you-
kernel up here real quick? I'd like to hear his
All right,
thoughts
well,
on the National Guard.
all right.
yeah,
Well, I'm not
Timbo,
gonna lie
can
to
you
you.
do that?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I have to go back to my party. So
Okay.
Okay, no worries.
Supra's
That's
here.
that's
Arvin
fine.
Tice is here. I'll send you.
No, I'm going to bed, bro. Just left on 5 p.m., so I gotta leave.
All right,
Yeah.
all right, all right. Thanks, guys. But we got to keep it going here. So if you're going to step off, go ahead and do that right now. I would just want to thank you guys for being with us. We're gonna move on.
Why
You
is
moved to
Tech up
Matrix?
here? I said Havoc. Can we get Havoc up here real
Yeah,
quick?
that's what I mean. But I'm talking specifically to Dan and Arvin Tice.
God bless.
You guys can take. Havoc, thank you for joining us. Welcome to our Palmer Times election headquarters tonight. I
What's
believe
up, Techie?
some of our panelists have some questions. Mr. Attorney General, welcome as well to the election headquarters and Palmer Boulevard, the crossroads of Ridgeway,
Give me
as
one
Ridgeway
second.
decides.
Let me crash my plane. I'm in the middle of a War Thunder match.
Before
I got
Question
pinged.
for Large before we get going. Do you get like a sponsorship every time you say that catchphrase?
No, it's just that. Really,
It's a good catchphrase.
He's
That's
getting
good.
paid.
Any-
He's getting paid in Ridgeway
anyway,
bucks.
Anyway, let's keep on.
All right,
He's doing
Havoc,
great. Leave
so-
him alone.
Real quick.
What I wanted to
He's
ask
doing
you
really
today,
good.
Havoc,
I
was
appreciate it.
Oh,
in
also,
your opinion.
Cool. Wait. Before you ask, I'm not MPI Colonel. I'm
Oh,
MP
sorry.
Captain.
Sorry, Captain. My bad. Too much credit.
Yeah, too much.
But can you speak on the points made by the Daniel Regan campaign, and in
Yes.
your own experience, do you believe there's nepotism in the Guard?
All right. So here's what I'll say. I got pinged. Someone said Daniel Reagan was talking shit on me or something.
Ooh.
So all I gotta say as far as things go is I'm gonna be painfully honest for any people that are in other departments. The fact of the matter is sometimes people want to look at things as nepotism, and I can agree whenever someone hires a friend and that friend either isn't qualified or doesn't know what the hell they're doing in that position. But I came into the Guard, I patrolled, I did my thing, and MP needed reforms. I was available, I had the time, and I'm trying to help them rebuild MP. If people want to be pissed off about MP being active again or MP actually being useful and doing things, they can be pissed off. Most of the people that are mad about it are people that for some reason, one reason or another. And
Okay, hold on.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
There's
sorry.
two of them.
There was some
There's two.
Holy.
there's an
What?
attack in
Havoc,
the studio right now.
Havoc, I also want to make sure that we get an answer from you, because I think the biggest charge that was leveled against the National Guard a few minutes ago was that Sheriff Reagan and his campaign believe that there's significant nepotism in the National Guard. Do you agree?
No, I don't.
And why is that?
Being painfully honest here, if there was nepotism, and I'm just saying what's on my mind, right? I have my own opinion.
Of course. That's why you're here. That's why you're here.
Our colonels wouldn't be here, if you want me to be painfully honest. I feel like they would have been replaced because we managed to run an efficient department where we argue often, and I am not as good of friends with everyone as other people that may not be high rank in the Guard believe. I am constantly in debates with Mr. Dami, that's CSB Colonel. He oversees MP. I'm in debates with Infantry Colonel. I'm in debates with our brigadier and our major general, and for some reason people believe that Matrix like tells the guard what to do, but Matrix is really hands off when it comes to the guard. It was only during the war where he wanted to like, I guess, talk to us more to make sure we were like available, active, making sure the city was good because we were deployed for war emergency reasons, and we were also trying to see Firestone at Tops, but I don't know what happened. They must have got lost finding their way to the future Tops link. As far as nepotism goes, I think if the person you bring in is inactive or isn't qualified and they don't make the department better, you're just giving your friend a position of power or a position of rank purely for their ego or for their pride. If someone comes in and does the job, people complaining either wanted the position or I'm not sure. When I came back to Ridgeway, I don't know if I said this to you, Large, but I think we were in call. I came back to Ridgeway and I said it's hard coming back to this community whenever you've left because people act like their department takes an 8-stage process to come back to. Like I said this to Matson with RSP, they don't have a reinstatement form. It's hard coming back into this community and having fun with your friends. At the end of the day, it's a game. You should be enjoying the game. And I mean, if you're a crim, you just pick up a gun. But if you're certified in Let's See or you like doing a certain thing, you can't just come back in and have fun. It's hard getting a job, like when you come back. And I think being able to open up departments and maybe relaxing on some things should be something that's taken into account. But
Mr. Download,
yes, Mr.
would you?
I don't know who that is.
It's McClaw. I have a question
Yes,
for
Mr.
you.
McLeod. Yes.
So, do you think that that Matrix's administration ever used the National Guard as a means of gaining clout with the citizens of Ridgeway
What do you mean as a means of gaining clout? As in
during the war? Like,
I mean, that's like. Are you trying to say that he used the guard in
I'm not
order
saying
to?
anything.
Well, I'm trying to understand what question you're asking. As in,
So
do you think that Matrix was propping the guard up to make himself look better?
yes,
No, I mean, I think we were just doing
Like-
it for the activity. Oh,
Okay.
and before somebody in the chat says it, and for the medal, we did get our awards. I would just like to say 2 awards actually, and a deployment patch. That's really what the main motivation is. Is just
Right.
that.
Keep it moving here.
Well, thank you, Mr. Download.
The
Appreciate
Attorney
your
General.
amazing insight.
The Attorney General is with us. Mr. Attorney General, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
nice to see you.
How are you doing this evening? Welcome to our election headquarters.
I'm doing quite well, thank you.
I think we just have a few minutes, and then to talk with you, and then we're going to do our top of the hour results. We are then going to pivot to the Matrix campaign for a 15 or 20 minute or so segment to sort of rebut some of the things that have been discussed for the last segment as we talked with the Daniel Reagan campaign. So I'll let the panel have at you.
So let's get the big question out of the way. How do you feel about this election, Techie?
Well, I'm quite excited that we have quite a live election this time around. I've seen many good points for both candidates, and I am just very happy that we've had solid campaigning all around.
All right. And then, you essentially being our chief legal officer of Ridgeway in a sense, how do you feel about the promises made by both campaigns?
I don't know if I want to comment too specifically, but
I do have one question for you as well, Mr.
Okay.
Attorney General.
I mean,
when I was governor, I worked extensively with you. Well, not as much as I think either one of us would have hoped, but I think one of our key issues that you brought up to me was that there was a serious problem facing the legal community of Ridgeway, and that is that there is a serious deficiency of lawyers, and the short-staffedness both of the Superior Court as well as the Justice Department presents a major issue that has been something that I feel I wanted to ask you about it because I wanted to see what you if you think that issue has been adequately addressed in this campaign, and what is that still an issue, and how important is it in this campaign?
I definitely think it is a massive issue, but I don't know if the campaigns are qualified enough to speak confidently on the matter to the extent that they can actually give us good policy on it.
But
Mhm.
neither campaign has mentioned that they. One of the things that I said when I ran for my third term as governor was that we were going to engage with and support the Justice Department. We were going to make it easy as much as we can. We're going to attract lawyers as much as we can, and that
I'd
needs
like to
be
point
important.
out, just in the effort of fairness, there is stuff, although
there?
not
Did I
very
not see
good,
it?
in Matrix's campaign
Well, then I stand
Um,
corrected.
on prospective attorneys and such. Again, not very good, but it's there.
Yeah, I'd also point out that a lot of the stuff governing whether or not we have active attorneys in this state is not up to the governor candidates. It's up to the Supreme Court and the State Bar Association. But there is the flip side of, appointing judges, and that is something the governor is responsible for, and in my view, something we really haven't seen. I mean, currently on the bench, we only have Kuala, Arthur Chen, and Alex Cabot. Now, Cabot currently has no docket because the Supreme Court has gotten into a bit of a row with him. Mr. Chen has been gone on personal leave for quite a while, and Kuala is frankly overloaded. We currently
Once
have
again,
no administrative judges. It's a mess.
We have
And
they just got Zayak in there, didn't they?
I'm sorry?
They just got Zayak in the admin court, didn't they?
They might have, yes, but
They
again,
did.
that was recently.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen much
It was
activity there for a
recent.
while.
It was recent.
It's just we need more judges. That's the big problem.
Yeah.
And I will grant that we do have quite a few magistrates, which Vince is now mentioning, but we don't have that many superior judges who are active.
I've always been concerned, Mr. Attorney General. I don't know if you agree or not, but I've always been concerned, and I've expressed this concern privately to Chief Judge Koala, that if he were to ever burn out of his position and decide that it's time for him to step down, I think the consequences to our legal system would be dire. And
I would agree. I
wonder what you
personally,
think about that.
I really don't see a clear successor to Koala at this time, and it is something that definitely worries me when Koala does decide to leave the bench and what state the court will be left in, because right now he is handling quite a lot of the caseload, and if we lose him, I mean the whole thing falls apart. I really do think that both candidates need to think very hard about who they want to see on the bench and consulting legal experts in the community to ensure that we get a good outcome there.
All right. My big question here is, what are your thoughts on the arrest of Vince Vance earlier today? I know you made a public statement. We had spoken a little bit about it.
The Solicitor General did as well.
Yeah. What
Yes.
is your opinion upon it? You think it's a lawful arrest, unlawful? Do you believe at this current point in time with your investigation, do you think you'd pursue criminal charges against him and get him convicted?
I do not have any plans at current to bring a criminal case against Vince Vant for his arrest today. I've spoken about it at length with my administration and with Vince's attorneys. The charge he was arrested for, we agree, is quite vague, and we do think it should be changed, though I do not feel comfortable stating outright that the arrest was unlawful. I do think there is certainly an argument to be made that it was a lawful arrest. The main point of contention is whether or not the ammo that Mr. Vince picked up could be considered evidence at use in a court case. There are arguments for both sides of that, whether it is or is not, but again, I don't feel comfortable bringing charges for that fact. If he wants to seek habeas corpus relief to get that arrest expunged, we will not challenge it, but we will seek to change the law, and we hope that the Senate can in future amend the law so that we get less vague crimes.
So I
Alright.
have a question for you. In terms of people who have experienced the same thing that Vince Vent has experienced, where they came back to a scene and picked up, their own property in essence, are those people all gonna get, if they have proof, maybe, get expungements, or how is this gonna work? Because I do know a lot of people have experienced the same thing in the county.
I mean, it really is up to whether or not they have the attorney to represent them in that matter. And it goes back to what we were discussing earlier about a lack of qualified attorneys in the state. But I mean, if they can find an attorney to help them file for an expungement, then they are free to do so.
All right.
I
I
do
had
think the Senate
something-
needs to
oh, I'm
amend the
sorry.
law.
So let me see if anybody else has a question, feel free. But I'm trying to remember
Yeah,
the
we
one
just
I had.
we just have a few seconds here, so
If I could put a question to Mr. Matrix OC.
I think.
You
Hold on,
claim
hold on,
you
wait,
were-
hold on, wait, it's coming. Hold on, wait, it's coming. It's coming.
Oh,
It's coming.
okay.
Trust,
Yeah,
trust,
I
trust,
think,
trust.
I think we
I
do that
trust.
after.
All right.
I trust.
Yeah.
Mr. Attorney General, on behalf of the panel, I'd like to thank you for joining us this evening. Please stick around
Thanks,
as we
Ducky.
may come back to you as well as the other candidates, Mr. Reagan, Mr. Arventize, Ms. Governor Matrix, and Vince Fant, as well as the Secretary of State candidates, who we will be turning to in the next. Actually, we're going to go to Matrix first, and then we're going to turn to the Secretary of State candidates because we've just spent the last hour talking about the governor election, and there is another one. So we're gonna have your half-hour results here in just a few minutes. For those of us just joining us, good evening. Welcome to the election night stream hosted by the Palmer Times on Palmer Boulevard, the crossroads of Ridgeway, here at the Palmer Times election headquarters as Ridgeway decides. Coming to you live with election results here at midnight Eastern and 11 o'clock midnight in the East and 11 o'clock in 11 o'clock Central. We have the gubernatorial election. Governor Matrix is now at 46.27%. Sheriff Reagan at 53.73%. In a continuing, I feel like a broken record here, everybody, but this race truly is a nail biter. Governor Matrix has come back from 31% earlier in the evening, and Daniel Reagan, who started off with a strong 67% lead, has dropped to 53%. A light lead still being maintained by the sheriff. We now have 53 and 46 in the gubernatorial election. Moving on to the Secretary of State election, we have the incumbent Secretary of State, Jason Bornaxis, holding at 45.48%, with Alex Neptune's now at 54.52%. It is a toss-up, everybody. I don't think that it would be fair for us to make a projection for either election. I don't know if any of you guys would agree with me on that point, but I think the more conversations,
not be a projection at this point.
Absolutely not. I think that our discussions here that we're having, I think, are very important, and I think that it would now be right of us to turn to the Matrix campaign and let the governor and Senator Vince Fant speak to us regarding some of the things that have been discussed in the last hour.
Oh yeah.
As we just heard from Sheriff Reagan and Mr. Arventize regarding their campaign. So we will go ahead and bring the governor onto the stage at this point.
Y'all strap in. I'm 2 vodka coolers deep. This is gonna be wild.
All right,
Governor,
before-
Governor, good evening. Welcome to our election headquarters. Welcome back. How are you doing?
I'm good. Before we continue, I just want to let you know I gotta take a leak real quick. So
Okay.
you could get Vince up here while
Yes, of
I
course.
go
Yes,
do
of
what I gotta
course. Yes, of course.
Firstly, I'd like to thank the guardsmen and the cops who are here tonight. It means
Senator
a
Vince
lot.
Fant, I hope you'll join us.
Just helping us keep safe.
Senator Vince Fant, I hope you will join us in thanking the peace officers as well as members of the National Guard and Pinkerton Security that are keeping us safe.
I
this afternoon,
100% will, and I
this
know
evening.
that the Matrix campaign does appreciate its law enforcement officers, and we don't plan to take away their long arms and make them rack them.
Well, anyway, welcome back to our election headquarters. Good evening. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Mr. Vince Fant.
I'm doing great.
question.
I think we'll let our panel jump right into it, and we'll let you sort of refute some of the things that we've talked about over the last 30 minutes.
Someone else go
Um,
first. I want to talk to Matrix when he gets back.
I've got a little funny question here. Did somebody named Matthew Marine Zero serve as a corporal in the state guard?
He did, yes.
All right. Thank you for your service, Mr. Matthew. I thought maybe he might have been lying a little bit. Thanks a lot, though.
Just for
We love
context,
Matthew Marine Zero.
just for context, Senator Vince meant Mr. Matthew Marine is standing at the edge of the stage, and he's been.
I am aware. We in the
Okay,
State
all
Guard,
right.
we do strive.
Can we pan to Matthew Marine Zero?
We
I think,
we do
Timbo, I
we
think,
do
okay,
strive.
can we put a camera on Mr. Marine for just one moment?
If I may, we do strive to build the future of Guardsmen in the Ridgeway National Guard. The State Guard is a educational opportunity
Thank you for your
members
service. Thank you for
You
your
know what?
service.
You know what?
who
Everybody
have
get up
never
and
had
salute
an
this man.
opportunity to serve in
Everybody get up and
Ridgeway.
salute this man. What a true hero right here.
Proud
True
patriot.
hero.
I'm
Proud
back. I'm
patriot.
back. I'm back.
And he
God
got
bless. Thank
kidnapped
you
by
for your service.
Firestonians. He got
Proud
kidnapped by
patriot.
Firestonians at one point. Salute this man.
He's
He's
here
a
for
war
Mitchell's
vet.
back.
war, and,
Everyone lock in for a minute.
Oh,
Yep.
really, guys? I was hoping for some interesting questions.
Everyone lock in. I got some
Well,
questions for you.
you're gonna get ready for this.
I got some questions for you. So in your and you better strap in. In your campaign, let's go over this. First of all, you put Daniel with a pencil up his nose, which is
I did.
pretty unprofessional, but kind of funny. So I'll let it slide. But you do say that you are quote a legal veteran.
Mhm.
Could you tell me what that means?
Well, as you guys know, I've been tried in
Oh
criminal
my
court.
God.
I've
Oh,
been tried
you're
in
getting-
criminal
Bruh.
court multiple
Let's keep
times.
it going. Let's keep it going.
And yep, I've been tried in criminal court multiple times, and obviously each time you see, and partly thanks to you, really. I mean, I know I see you don't want to answer the question, but partly thanks to you, I'm here where I am today, partly because of you. So shout out to you. But listen, as far as the legal veteran part, it's because I'm in criminal cases all the time.
Sir, you are a certified attorney, correct?
Yes.
So can you tell me the last time you were in a courtroom where you weren't the criminal defendant?
2023, I believe. I was defending Reach Masterable in a civil case that we
you got the
won.
receipts on you, yeah.
In a civil case that we won.
Let's pivot to your policies about the bar. Is there a reason that your policies regarding attorneys have not, and I've seen you talk about them before this as well, but they've not been brought forward to the Bar Association?
And what can you say specifically, like word for word, like what
This
exactly?
is policies. I got you word for word. Policy 6, Your Honor, I object. During my turn, my team and I effectively managed. Hold on, this is not right. Looking ahead to my next term, I aim to focus on enhancing education opportunities for prospective attorneys and providing more incentives for private attorneys to practice law in our state. These initiatives will contribute to a stronger legal system, ensuring that we have skilled professionals ready to serve the needs of our community. So why has these type of things not been run, even notice to the state bar or done in conjunction with them?
Well, I disagree because those exact points came from you and your attorneys. I don't think you've realized, but
Which
a lot
attorneys?
of
Which attorneys?
I'm about to name them in a second. Give me a second. I'm not done with my thought. But my point being is that if you, I don't know, I see you haven't realized because obviously you're doing this, but a lot of those have come from your own people. Obviously, when you were running Clark and when you and David were running Clark and Associates, these are concerns that you guys brought to me, which is exactly why I'm looking forward to implementing them in my next term.
And so my
People like
question
Matthew
is,
I'm giving you the names because you asked for them, right? You still want them?
well, that's not what I was gonna. We can skip the names. I understand the
Okay.
post you're referring to.
Okay.
And
now you get it.
I agree. These things are good ideas. But my question was and is, why have they not been brought in conjunction with the Bar Association?
But what do you mean?
Why is it unilaterally through the governor's office when things like law schools require explicit approval from the Bar Association?
I get what you're saying now. Okay, see, we had a misunderstanding. I had originally thought that you were talking about like why I didn't tell you about it, or whatever the case may be. Like in that sense, I'm saying no. Like obviously, like I said, you didn't know, but obviously I'm telling you now. A lot of these ideas came from you. It came from your attorneys at the time, and a lot of other members of the public defender's office, and even state judges now.
I feel like you're misunderstanding my question.
No. I'm still going to answer the question.
Let's go back.
I'm still answering the question.
Back.
So
if
my
you
point
are going to implement these, how would they be implemented under your administration?
Well, obviously, like I said, these ideas came from attorneys and judges. So obviously,
how would they be implemented?
I'm trying to get to that. So again, these plans came from attorneys and judges. So my point being, obviously, we need attorneys and the help of these attorneys and judges who brought forth these ideas to get them implemented. So my point being is, yes, I talked about education. Yes, I talked about furthering our legal system in terms of getting more competent attorneys. Yes, I've talked about law schools, and these are all ideas that of course I've thought about, but also that you, as well as other attorneys and judges, have brought forth to me. So of course, yes, of course, I want you guys to be a part of the process. You guys are the ones who came up with the ideas. So my point being is, I don't know if you taking me not DMing you saying, oh, I'm gonna put this in my policy as, oh, like I'm not gonna like as, oh, I'm cutting you out the process. That's not my intent, and that's not what I'm doing. Obviously, I'm gonna need your help,
Absolutely
and I'm
not,
gonna
sir.
need judges' helps in doing all of this.
Mhm. And is that all you have in regards to how you're going to do this? You're just
As in-
going to like
all right, so
defer it
say
to some
specifically-
outside attorneys?
Say specifically what you're referring to, because there's a couple things in the policy that I'm talking that I talked about.
What kind of incentives are you going to provide to attorneys to practice?
Say it again. Sorry.
You say you're going to
What
provide
type of-
incentives for private attorneys to practice law. What incentives?
Mhm. Well, Matthew Sangram listed a bunch of things that I think would be helpful. If I can go back to his message and read verbatim what he said, because I think they're all great ideas. You said you want me to?
Yep.
Okay, give me 1 second.
I'd like to see some substance. Really?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Blah 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 blah. Sorry, I'm trying to find it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We got it right here. Let's scroll down.
Just while he's doing that, a brief update for you guys. I just want to let everybody know that all of the current votes, I've been working pretty hard over here. All of the current votes that have been cast as of 12:11 a.m. Eastern time have been filtered. So all of the I've been working hard over here, making sure that that this gets done. So
Okay, while we're waiting for Matrix.
All right. So
he's
Okay.
back.
Oh, go ahead.
All right, so Matthew came to me, and like I said, this is the discussion I had with the head of one of the biggest law firms we have in Ridgeway. He said, "Hey, me and other attorneys are setting up are wanting to set up a law institute. I'm just wondering whether the government will want to use this as part of a Fresh Start program, or even to get a lawsuit helping getting the law school started." He said, "When we have everything finished, I can send you a proposal package. But the long and short of it is, we'll be doing a full law course so people can get a good understanding of law and then take the bar exam. This should help produce more effective lawyers and help the legal profession." He said, "I also have an idea of finding more ways to benefit private attorneys." And then he sent me a whole DM. Hold on.
That's what I'd like to hear mostly. Is
All right. All right, well, you can talk while I find it if you want.
okay. We're going to go to Vince for a minute. Mr. Vince Fan.
Hello.
Senator Vince Fan.
Senator Vince Fan. Correct.
Yeah,
My
get it
apologies.
right.
Get it right, Your Honor. Relax.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to start anything.
We're even.
So, let's go to something that was submitted to me in my DMs, which
Sure.
is an anonymous citizen, a concerned citizen, who is concerned that while you have been in the Senate, you have been doing the bidding of the current lieutenant governor. Whether or not you necessarily agree with it, or whether or not you think it's beneficial for the nation. Do you have any comments on that?
I would like to ask how this panel believes that I've been doing the bidding of the lieutenant governor.
I'm just saying you're accused of it
I'm accused of it. In
by
what
this
way?
guy in my DMs. So do you?
Okay. Does this guy in your
you
DMs have
agree?
any?
You
Do I agree? No, I don't.
Okay. Why?
What about the countless bills, and this is referenced in the DM, what about the countless bills, resolutions, and other items presented on the lieutenant governor's general whim that signed your name on it as the
Do
presenting?
you have
author?
any evidence of this, of these claims?
I don't have to have it.
That I
Are
have
you
proposed
accepting it, or are
pieces
you
of
denying it?
legislation that I accepted, proposed pieces of legislation that has come from the lieutenant governor. I have taken legal aid from yourself, from David L. Clark, from, of course, the president of the Senate, Mr. Lucas.
Legal
Mr.
aid is
Mandatory
crazy,
Morale.
actually.
No, I don't mean legal aid. I mean counsel.
Yeah.
As a senator,
So-
it's my job
and-
to.
So
Sorry, what?
is it your stance that you are outright denying these claims?
outright denying the claim that I have been doing the bidding of Mandatory Morale since my election as a senator? Yes. Do I take advice from Mr. Mandatory Morale in his capacity as president of the Senate? Of course.
Do you think that Mr. Mandatory Morale has been an effective president of the Senate?
I 100% do.
Do you think that there's something that you would do differently than Mr. Mandatory Morale?
There is, in fact, yes. I would do many things differently than Mr. Mandatory Morale. I would try and work with, regardless of the result of the impeachment trial, I want to strengthen the relationship with the Department of Justice, with the legislature and the Department of Justice. There is a gap there that needs to be filled, and it's part of the reason why there's so many issues in our state, because our legislature and our Department of Justice are not working hand in hand. I will try to improve that relationship as president of the Senate, regardless of the outcome of the impeachment trial. Techie knows that we are on a good foot. Techie has supported me today in my arrest. Of course, my petty, unlawful, politically motivated arrest.
Lots of adjectives.
His office and the Solicitor General's office have showed me support, and I will.
Senator, I have a question for you.
I have just one thing before I hand it over, if that's okay, Large.
That's fine.
So the SIU report that was released on the Munch papers basically alleges that you didn't write the impeachment resolution against the Attorney General. Did you write it, or was that done by another author?
See, the impeachment inquiry was a joint investigation with
The
all of the members. The articles
of impeachment
and the inquiry and the report were all a joint investigation by the members of the Judiciary Committee. And Mr. Mandatory Morale has access to the Judiciary Committee, and he provides feedback and he provides help with the reports. That is his job as the president of the Senate, is to aid senators in committee matters. He is on.
Is it your stance?
The report,
the committee as a whole wrote the impeachment resolution.
The report was done in junction and upon the approval of all the senators within the Judiciary Committee. Regardless of whose email, that's what you're referring to, regardless of whose email is on said document, all of the words, all that is wrote, all the articles of impeachment were approved by each member of the Judiciary Committee. We all had a say in it. We all had a part in it. It wasn't a one-sided investigation. And it wasn't me doing Mandatory Morale's bidding.
But there's no truth to the SIU report alleging those facts?
Does the SIU report have any evidence?
I mean, I was kicked off the Judiciary Committee before we all approved any
Where's the evidence? You aid multiple. You aid the report before we had the articles. You aid the report.
Do you have proof of this, sir?
Yeah, let me go to the Senate.
Let's chill.
Resolution.
We're not doing this.
Okay, no.
All I'm saying is, I just like,
do
yes
I have
or no?
proof of it? The answer is yes.
Are you saying, sir, Mr. Vince, that you do not agree with the findings of the SIU report?
Do I not? What were the findings of the SIU report, in your opinion?
That you did not write the articles that you introduced.
I was not the only writer. There were multiple people who wrote
Did you
that
write
report.
parts of it?
Of course.
Okay. We'll go over to I believe is next.
Actually, I gotta say something. Anyways, Vince, we all know you got quite the relationship with Mr. Morale. I've gone ahead and forwarded all my proof of that to the panel here. Unfortunately,
awesome. Are you
gonna
pull up the picture of where I said in a private conversation? Are you gonna pull up that picture where I said Matrix is the N-word?
Yeah, Matrix is a nigga or some stupid shit.
Yeah. So I can't have private conversations with my friends. Let me. How about I filter in our DMs?
I did have a policy question for the senator. If my fellow panelists.
Should I filter in our DMs the N-word, Dapper?
Let's see.
How about we? Okay, hold on. Before we get to Large's question, I'm gonna say this now. If we're gonna talk about the integrity of an investigation based off the fact there is no publicly available evidence, I'll tell you right now, you better question every other investigation ever released by any other investigative entity. The reason that is because that evidence is provided to a grand jury, which then finds if the person can be indicted. It's not the fault of me.
I'd like to note
that's just how it works.
to I'd like to note to the Bank of Robloxia alts that continue to spam and create 19 different accounts that it's not going to work, and I've blacklisted all of your votes.
Oh,
So please keep.
that's
So
crazy.
please
Who are they?
keep it
Wait,
up.
who are they voting for though?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
That
would the panel mind if I proceeded with my?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Senator, I just have one, and then I'll step off here. But
Hello, I have a question for Mr. Large Titanic
Where
too.
did this guy
Wait,
come
whoa, larger
Who is
stuff.
this guy?
hang on a minute. Hang on a second.
What's
Dave,
the owner of Noosa?
Hey, Dave, can you just
Oh.
can you not for a minute?
from?
This is really cool, all right?
I really want to hear
All
your
right.
question, Large.
Hang on. So Vince, I noticed that during your last couple of minutes here, you've been talking about strengthening your relationship with the Justice Department, which I feel is important given the rifts between the Justice Department and the rest of the government over the last year. It's been
Rift.
extreme. It's been extreme.
The
So
rift is an understatement.
it's an understatement, 100%.
The Mariana's French up in here.
And there's plenty of reasons for that. And I know that the governor has his thoughts on it. I know the attorney general's got his thoughts on it. I know you do. But you said that despite the outcome of whatever the outcome of the impeachment might be, you want to support and work with the Justice Department. I just have one question on that. Did you support the Senate's renewal of that impeachment? Because the
I
Senate did renew it.
I did
So
support
then
the,
so
I
my
did support the
question for you
renewal,
then-
and I'll
so-
explain why I supported
Okay,
the
I'd
renewal.
like to know why you did, because you know what I mean?
I supported the renewal on the grounds of what the report and what the articles of impeachment stated. I only supported the impeachment due to the investigation that the Committee of the Judiciary found. The claims are solid, the claims have basis. And that is why I continued and I approved, or I aid the continuance
So you want
to
you wanna
allow
work
for
with
due
the
process.
Attorney General, but you want him removed. This is true.
Oh, bro,
Hold on, 1 second. Sorry, I had to mute really quickly. It's late.
Okay. Well, that's okay. I think we'll get that. We'll get a little bit more from Vince Fent later. It is getting a little bit late. If
I'm
you
like
guys
right
want to
beside
go,
my parents' room chat.
oh, all right. If you guys want to go, to Matrix now, that
What
he's
was
Not
back.
tell me
last-
mommy came in
What
your
was
room,
the?
bro.
Yo, relax. What was the
So-
last part?
What about, yeah,
You
cool,
said-
go ahead.
Why would I want to work with the?
No, my question was why are you extending an olive branch to a man that you're attempting to remove from office?
I am simply in support of the impeachment inquiry because I want to allow for due process to continue. The Supreme Court has already initiated and is far into trial now, and I think that the trial should be continued and finished.
I would not characterize their progress into the trial as far.
Regardless of what you characterize it as an individual, it's started and it's been in continuance, and I want to allow that. And whatever ruling Justice Siteowner has, again, like I said, I will continue to strive to grow the relationship between the Senate and the Department of Justice as best as I can.
Okay. Before I get into my question, it seemed like David had somebody he wanted to bring up here, so we'll do that, and then I'll ask my question to the candidates.
I have a question for Mr. Large Titanic too.
What?
Mr. Large, in a recent address, you stated that you were going to hit the gritty on them. What does that mean? What did you mean by that?
I did not state that.
I remember you saying that. So that's perjury, lie.
I did not say that.
Okay.
And I'd like to Ukrainian.
I was a
I'd
better
like to-
DNI, by the way.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Have a good night now.
Okay.
Oh, that questioning was almost as irrelevant as this group.
Oh wow! Wait,
Yo,
Hey, we don't need to.
Wow.
We don't need to be.
Yo, those are our allies. Those are our
All right,
allies.
let's shift focus a
So-
little bit. Governor, thanks for joining us once again. It's a pleasure to have you here. I think the panel is now going to spend a couple of minutes working on you. Then that's going to take us up to our 11:30 half-hour results here live at the Palmer Times election headquarters. So, Governor, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Titanic.
All right. I'm going to hope to God that this ends in the next 30 minutes because I'm getting tired. All right.
It will. We're not going to go past one.
Okay. So my question for you, for both of you, in fact, is after hearing everything Mr. Regan has had to say, and I believe this panel's opinion not answered, how exactly do you want to portray that to the public in light of your own campaign? What do
Wait,
you do
what?
better than he
Are
does?
you referring to the fact that Mr. Reagan has
Wait,
basically
hold on.
not answered one single question
How
that has
the
been
fuck
asked
is
by this panel?
Stanley up here?
Yo, get this troll off the stage.
What the hell?
I just want to
get here?
know, like, generally, whatever your takeaway was from this, the conversation between all of them, what exactly was your,
What was
what are
my
the big
takeaway from?
takeaways? What are your takeaways and how do you want to expand upon them and explain them in your own sense for your campaign?
All right, so I'll be honest, I'm a little confused on the question. So you're saying my takeaways from what Daniel said?
From his campaign. So him, Supra,
Oh, okay,
blah blah
okay,
blah blah.
okay.
When they were up here, how exactly do you combat their statements they made against you? Do you have any statements you want to make
I
against
mean, I
them?
feel like I don't not necessarily statements I want to make against them. I just feel like when they were up here, they didn't really focus on answering the question. And I feel like when I was up here, I tried obviously to the best of my ability to answer the questions you guys gave me. Obviously I gave a little background, or sometimes I tend to give a little background to like the questions, but I feel like in the end I do end up answering the question that's asked, where I don't feel like that was the case with a lot of the questions that were asked to them. And it was a lot of like like bluffer, like a buffer to get to somewhere, and just like to feel like they answered it, but they didn't really answer it. To be honest, I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place in terms of how I feel about how they answered. As far as the whole Arvidas situation with 5M, I mean, listen, bro, you play what you want, bro. Obviously, like this is a game. But do I think you should duck the lieutenant governor debate to play fires? I mean, to play 5M?
You don't want the smoke, bro.
And like, do
Excuse
I
me.
think you should?
Sorry.
So that was one part of it. Another part was when Daniel did
What
come
is
up.
Stan?
Yo,
Dude,
Stan, why
Stanley
are
is
you
taking
peeing?
a shower, bro.
Yo,
Can
why
you
is
get
this
the
guy
fuck
leaking?
out?
Bro's taking.
Dude, he's either
Why is this
taking a
guy-
piss or he's
He's
showering.
taking a piss.
Jesus.
What the fuck?
No,
I'd like to
actually,
apologize to our.
Becky-
I'd like to apologize to our viewers for that unfortunate incident. In
He
fact,
keeps
Stan
coming
will
back up.
remain muted.
All right,
Stan will
listen.
remain muted until he actually has something to say. Mr. Governor, please continue.
Techie said that's not fair to Arvidas. He was in the hospital during the debate. That's actually not true because the night of the debate, I was actually playing 5M with Arvidas. So that's not true. He might have went to the hospital that day, but that night, like at the time of the debate, we were actually playing 5M.
Oh, brother.
Nah, that's crazy.
So I can tell you, in fact, he did dodge the debate to play 5M. But listen, it is what it is, bro. If you listen, we know where his priorities are, and obviously, listen, if you have fun playing 5M, play 5M. It is what it is. You guys also touched on him being lieutenant governor in Mayflower. I don't know necessarily how it's allowed for him to do that and then do that here, but listen, I don't question things. I just feel like it's gonna be a lot for him. He could barely manage being governor in Mayflower all that time ago. I was basically doing everything for him. So yeah, obviously I'm not gonna bring up this health stuff. He's a friend like outside all of this. So I I hope he's good and everything. Like as far as that goes, but yeah, that's as far as that goes. With Daniel's responses, I feel like I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, he joined, obviously he's on his little senior retreat or whatever, partying, living it up. I'm surprised he found the time to come in and, pause his party or whatever, and leave his friends to hop on his phone and be like, yo, what's up, guys? That was a little like surprising, that he made that happen. But yeah. As far as how he answered the questions, I already said I feel like he didn't answer the questions how they were asked. And I feel like a lot of his policies are contradicted. It's obvious that him and his lieutenant governor aren't on the same page. His policies say one thing, but when Arvidas was up here, he said something completely different. And I forgot who asked, but whether Knott's Feelings or Ghoul asked, like, what are you doing? In terms of like, didn't you just contradict like what Daniel said? He was like, oh well, he kind of backpedaled a little bit. But yeah, my point is, I don't think they're on the same page. I think things are very different. They're offset. They got two different things going on. So yeah, that's my kind of position.
All right.
If I may give my position, if the panel allows.
Oh yeah. I have like one more question after this, so feel free.
Yep.
I'll
You got
be-
about
I'll be
120
brief.
seconds, so go brief.
I'll be brief. Daniel Reagan did a lot of waffling today. He indeed showed that he has no grasp of even his own campaign policies. In fact, because he did not write his campaign policies, Trend Love wrote all of his campaign policies, or a majority of them, And I have evidence of this. I won't be showing it to the panel tonight, but maybe it'll come up later on. Regardless, Daniel Reagan made a claim today that there's nepotism in the Ridgeway National Guard and gave no evidence of that. He decided to say that he will be removing long arms from law enforcement officers and forcing them to, rack them. Law enforcement officers will suffer for that. Daniel Reagan relies heavily on his support staff. Now, okay, he's on senior week, but why do you choose to run for an election if you're not even going to be here? How can we trust him to support Ridgeway if he's not even going to be here for his own election? He relies heavily on Just Dapper, his campaign manager, Supermark, who was in today campaigning for him on 5 alts, the only Daniel Reagan supporter. There were numerous main account Matrix OC supporters and only Supermark on 5 alts. And he also relies on other people, like I said, to write his own policies in which he has no understanding of. It's my time.
All right. It is now. I apologize for the fact that we do this every 30 minutes, but don't worry. We've only got about a half an hour left of this, and the last segment that we are going to spend is going to be on the Secretary of State election. So before I get into the results of the half-hour mark, I just want to thank the gubernatorial candidates, especially you, Mr. Governor, as well as Sheriff Reagan, for joining us this evening. We appreciate you taking the time out of your busy campaign schedules to give your message to the state. So thank you for being a part of the campaign process. And to everybody who has not yet voted, please do so, because I am live filtering and I will filter your vote right now. Right now. So please get it in and we will make sure that your vote is counted if you meet the requirements to vote. So Governor and Senator Vince Vant, thank you very much. And have a good evening.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Wait, I had another question.
There's not just a minute. All right, fine.
We can mute and then you come back.
Yeah.
For those of us just joining us, I'm hoping that there isn't anybody because we got about a half an hour left of this, and then all of us are gonna drop dead because we've been doing this for like 4 hours now. But good evening and welcome to the Ridgeway election night here at the Palmer Times headquarters on Palmer Boulevard, the crossroads of Ridgeway. Coming to you live at 12:31 a.m. in the East, 11:31 Central. Coming to you with live election results, preliminary results at the top, at the halfway mark of the hour. For the gubernatorial election, Governor Matrix is currently at 46.27%. He is holding at 46, and Sheriff Reagan at 53.73. So a slight drop a very slight drop for Daniel Reagan and a very slight gain for Matrix. Going to the gubernatorial or the Secretary of State election, we have incumbent Secretary of State Jason Bornax is at 46.34% and challenger Alex Neptunes at 53.66. We now turn. I think there's going to be one more question from panelist Gould for the governor and Senator Vincent, and then we're going to turn back to the Secretary of State election, and then we're going to close out the evening. So, Gould, over to you.
All right. Well, firstly, happy birthday to Aviux from PPD. Just saw it on the radio. Happy birthday to that guy.
So true.
And then the big question that a lot of the panelists have been talking about. Oh, well, happy birthday to you too, totally, Alex. All right, we're gonna get to the birthday section of this now.
Happy birthday for everybody whose birthday it is.
Oh yes, and happy birthday, yes. And essentially, my question here is in regards to the current Lieutenant Governor Mantu Morale and his worsening relationship with both of you. He's made multiple statements, during this election night. And some of them are, going around the idea that he's endorsing your opponent. So can you give us any insight on this? How it feels, and in your own opinion, why he's turning against you at such a late point?
You want my honest opinion, and I really try to keep our relationship obviously together on a professional level, but also on a friendship level, for as long as I possibly could. But very early in the beginning of our term, bro, morale was just like violent. Like I don't know what to like. I don't know how else to put it. Very early in the term, he hit it off right by starting this big thing between him and Just Dapper, right? And then he started a whole war. He went on SO and then pulled over Dapper, and that was the whole beef. That was the whole that was the whole reason this whole case even got started in the first place. That's what it stemmed from. It stemmed from mandatory morale in the National Guard, right? That's where it started. Like that's where this whole like, that's where the controversy of my entire governance literally came from. It came from morale. So my whole thing was, like that was like not his. I wouldn't say his first strike because obviously I'm not keeping score, and obviously I look after my own. But that was me kind of trying to like keep us all together in a way because obviously he messed up, and I was just trying to keep us all together. You know what I'm saying? I even vouch. Techie can talk to you. I sat there in VC and told Techie. Techie said he was gonna prosecute morale. I sat there and Techie's in the chat right now. He can vouch. I've done nothing but always look out for morale. I sat there in VC with Techie for over an hour and a half, going on 2 hours, telling him, don't prosecute mandatory. Don't prosecute mandatory. Trust me, I can get the situation fixed. I can talk to him. Blah 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 blah. Little did I know that wasn't true. He doesn't listen to reason at all. Like he's just a very like all I can describe him as is like a nuclear ticking time bomb waiting to go off. And obviously I've never made these comments publicly because I've always respected him as a person and I've always tried to respect him as my lieutenant governor. And I've always tried to respect him as my lieutenant governor, but as time went on, like it only got worse. Like now you see he's suing the PPD, he's suing the National Guard, like and he had his bar certification suspended by a Supreme Court justice not even 2 weeks ago. The guy's going off. So my point being is, what can we expect? Of course, he's losing it all. Like this is what happens. Like if you literally look up the 5 stages of grief, like that's exactly what he's going through right now. He sees he's not going to be lieutenant governor again. He sees that his prospect for attorney general is not looking great. So this is what he's turned to. He's also asked me after everything, right? He came into my DMs. He was like, "You haven't done anything for me this term." He said, "My approval rating is low because of you. Like this is all your fault." And I said, "Have you once turned to yourself and thought to yourself, maybe this is my fault, right? Maybe I did something wrong." You get what I'm saying? And I said, maybe have you once throughout this entire term ever thought that anything in life, right, is your fault? You can tell he was spoon-fed since a baby, right? And I don't hate him. I really don't. It's just like I'm so sick of like putting up with it. I've stood up for him since the beginning of our term. You know what I'm saying? And again, Techie can vouch. I've always stood up for this guy. But at some point, it's like, dude, what do you want me to do? And especially with him, like, blaming me, like, for all his troubles.
Right.
It's just, all right, I'll wrap up. I'll wrap up. But last thing.
Yeah.
He also, right, let me answer the root of the question. You asked me why I think he's turning on me now. And the reason is, after I said all those things, after I talked about him having his bar license suspended, after I talked about him suing the National Guard, suing the PPD, having all those things done, he then asked me, right? He then asked me in my DMs, after not speaking with him for such a long period, he asked me if I could nominate him to be a judge. And I said no. I said no. Why the hell would I say yes? Absolutely not.
Oh my God.
Governor, I do want to take the last 20 minutes.
Matrix,
I do think
guys.
that we hang on a second, Senator and Governor Matrix. I just want to take the last 20 minutes of the show here and make sure that we do give the Secretary of State election adequate coverage as well. So I think we're going to call it there for the gubernatorial once again. So I'd just like to thank both of you for being on the program tonight. I think that the gubernatorial race is very important, and we do have 24 hours, less than 24 hours now, left of voting. I want to remind everybody that the polls are still open. Please do vote if you have not yet voted. Thank you, Governor. Have a good evening.
All right, thank you so much.
Hi, guys.
Dude, I don't get a thank you.
Thank you,
Yo,
Senator.
Vince, shut the hell up.
And thank you, Senator, and thank you, Sheriff Daniel Reagan, for participating as well, and Mr. Marvin Tice. We appreciate the campaigns being so willing to come on the program and give us their takes on the issues that are most effective, that are the most difficult issues that are facing our state.
Yo, it's the man himself, Yufan Seal. He's here.
As we are moving into the final segment of our program, I just want to go around the panel for a little bit and talk about the Secretary of State election. As you can see, we are still, even though the polls have changed dramatically over the course of the night, we are now seeing that it's still trending toward the incumbents losing. Even though, despite our discussions and debates here tonight, we're still seeing that the incumbents are losing. So, do you think that there's still a general sentiment among the public that even though that regardless of what Governor Matrix may have said this evening, as well as that the voters still believe that it's time for a change?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, again, a lot of people really think it's time for a change. They've seen not really anything happening within the department in terms of support for small businesses, and again, the voters want change, obviously.
How important is so over the course of the last couple of years, we've seen dramatic growth of the private sector. I mean, that's undeniable. I mean, since before my first administration 2 years ago, as when I first took office as governor, the private sector was relatively small. But over the course of the last couple of years or so, we've seen dramatic growth of the private sector. And how important do you think, this is for everybody in the panel, you can answer however you'd like, how important is the State Department in managing private sector growth? And how do we make sure that we're allowing private business to grow, but we're also making sure that people are being treated fairly? How do we do that?
Oh boy, it's gonna be a big one. Well, I can surely tell you that Jason didn't do anything about it. I mean, I'm not exactly sure how you bring growth into small business. Is not my forte in the world of Roblox, but it surely isn't lowering the restriction to get a business down to being crime-free for 7 days. It surely isn't making it so that your donors can donate $10,000 to the Department of Justice so that they can somehow give it to small businesses to quote unquote help them grow. Surely isn't anything like that. So,
Bro, 1 second. Why did the stream just pan to Vince fan and you found Seal?
Because whatever, just keep on going.
That's
Keep on going.
that's a pressing matter.
We got 19 minutes, guys. Keep on going.
Techie, I was talking about the Department of State.
With respect to the Department of State, the fact of the matter is, and I said this earlier before Large cut me off, some people want to lead and just oversee the various offices doing their thing. And I think that's Jason's standpoint. Some people want to take charge of the department and bring change from the top all the way down to the bottom. And I feel like that's Alex's approach. And it's very clear, to me at least, that Alex is supporting this by having policies with plans that he can implement. And Jason is supporting his standard by passing legislation that he never enforces.
For sure. I just like to, Ghoul, you didn't have to expose us. All right. I have had several. I have had several beers, and no one needed to know that.
Be proud.
I've had too many coolers.
Be proud. I've already downed a bottle of whiskey.
We're having a great time here. All right. This is
I'm
excellent.
just being honest that we're having a good time here election night, and this is the only way I'd make it through.
Great. This is great. All right.
We will see you in 3 weeks for the AG elections.
Hell yeah. That'll be an even better time.
This is not ending here. This is not ending here. I'll tell you that.
I think Large is going to be hiring all of us into the SVE debate commission after this one.
That definitely is possible.
Okay.
I'm getting the general sense from the panel as well as from the community that's talking in Ridgeway stage as well as the general chat that we've kind of discussed the Secretary of State election enough. The polls are what they are. I genuinely encourage people to make their own decision when it comes to, especially the Secretary of State election. Figure out what you want the Secretary of State to be. Do you want increased business regulation? Do you want it to be easier to start a business? Make your decision based on that, and make your decision in the next couple of days because this election is going to be very close. Because
I
every
have to
time,
point out.
go ahead.
I have to point out. Jason's Discord has approximately like 150 something people in it. Let's see here. No, 110 members, and for Mr. Alex has 7. So
Holy shit.
the fact of the matter is, Alex is fucking clearing, while Jason is pinging people in his announcements channel, desperate for votes.
I think it all derives from the debate from last night.
Yeah, look at the debate poll and government updates.
Like,
Should
I'm
show
gonna be
you.
entirely honest.
Honestly, I think that
Should show
at
you
this
enough.
point, it's safe for us to say that that debate is what put Alex where he is now. I think without question, we have to say that. I think that the debate is why Alex is in the polls where he is, because I think without that debate, he would be nowhere near where he is now.
All I'm saying is the two key takeaways from last night and today is that, in my personal opinion, it's kind of flip-flopped here. So I'll explain it in a way that I can without slurring my words too much. Essentially,
Man, fuck you, Ghoul.
Essentially, okay.
Son of a bitch.
Essentially, Daniel Regan had a lot of blanketing arguments today.
Regan.
You shut the fuck up.
It's Reagan, sorry.
Last
All
last night, Jason had a lot of blanket arguments, and quite frankly, both of these so-called debates, they had a debate today. Essentially, they both provided arguments, and they argued, and they, had a fun time. But essentially, the true nature behind it is that, how do I say this? Daniel had blanket arguments, and Jason had blanket arguments. But in the governor election, it seems like for some reason that's working. For some reason, his blanket arguments seem to be working. But
It's racially
in the
motivated,
adverse,
for sure.
Yeah, in the adverse, you have Jason Bornaxis, who provided his blanket statements, and he's getting fucking washed. I mean, like, oh my god.
Well, I just like to. I know that we've hashed over the gubernatorial election 18 times now, but I think something that you brought up a little while ago that I'd just like to, if the governor is watching still, I think that somebody brought up earlier in the conversation, and I've had several beers, all right? So just give me a minute to think this through, because here's the thing. Somebody brought up that somebody was calling Matrix a thug. I think it was Sheriff Reagan. And I just think somebody said that there's some racial overtones there. And I think I have to agree.
That's Walter.
I think I have to agree a little bit, because it's like, come on now. Normally I reject the race argument, which Matrix knows. I've yelled at him quite a few times for bringing it up. But in this case, I mean, come on now. Like, why do you have to say that?
I'm just saying, and listen, I'm just saying, if the only argument that comes up after we go through your policies, if your only argument is, well, he's a thug, it might be racial.
Wait, Matrix,
You've
in
both
the chat,
been
where are
charged
you
with
from?
crimes.
You're from New York, aren't you, Matrix?
I mean, is it racist if it's true? Like, I don't think so.
Yeah, he's from New York.
I mean,
shut your goddamn mouth, BR.
Okay,
okay. Can somebody tell me where Daniel Reagan is from?
I don't know.
Is anybody in the chat
Sweet home Alabama.
Oh my.
He said Alaska. He said apparently he's from Alaska. Oh my god, these are polar. These are polar opposites. These are polar opposites of the fucking planet.
Can we also say? Can we just point out for a minute that Mr. Reagan, I don't know what his policies are. I mean, he accused me of being biased, even though I grilled Matrix, but that's neither here nor there. One of his key policies is to allow the Department of State to have oversight into private businesses' affairs.
I know
that's not very Republican of him, is it?
No, what I will tell you, Walter, is that based on the conversation that we heard from him I don't think that is his policy, and I know that you don't either.
Mm.
But he didn't say anything else. Like, that was the thing that got me, is that you were like, "Is this your policy?"
Well,
and the answer was, "I don't know."
This is
Like,
the thing.
it's like,
I
really?
think inherently he knows that is not a good policy,
Right.
but he put it out and now he has to stick to it. And I
The very
think that shows
nature-
a lack of planning.
The very nature of private business is such that it's private. The very nature of private business is that it's private. You know,
I think it shows a lack of coordination between his political staff, and I think it shows a lack of fitness and readiness to assume the office of governor.
What I think, I may have just heard that wrong, but okay. I think that it's absolutely insane to claim you know your policies and you're willing to come up there and defend them, but you have a panel of 3 drunk men who have now been able to piece apart
Cleared you.
your
Cleared you.
arguments.
He got cleared.
We literally
Very
pulled
drunk.
this guy's argument apart, and quite frankly, I'm astonished. I'm absolutely astonished.
I'd like to
at
point
the
out one
fact
more
that,
thing.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm so drunk. Go ahead, finish.
That I just
I
point
couldn't
out,
remember that Daniel Reagan was the
this guy-
sheriff.
holy shit, this guy's fucked. Essentially, I want to go clubbing with this guy. Holy fuck, this panel needs to go clubbing. Or we
10
gotta go to a
minutes.
bar.
10
We gotta
minutes.
go- yeah, we gotta go to a bar or something. All right, but
10
basically,
minutes.
it is absolutely fucking insane to come up here and talk to not only a judge, but just like-minded individuals who aren't idiots, and claim that you know your policies like the back of your own hand.
Bro was arguing
and
with
to get-
lawyers.
and
Like,
to
shape
get-
up, bro.
And to get like shit on in a matter of seconds because you're blanket arguing. He's essentially like the Krillman argument where he's just sitting here and he's going, well, it might happen, it may not happen. But like, okay, yeah, Matrix claimed he's a legal veteran techie. Okay,
Well,
let's get over
let's dig
it
into that.
now.
Let's dig
But
into
let's
that.
but
for a
let's be
minute.
real here.
First
Okay,
of
let's
all,
be real.
first of all,
Is it worse? Is it worse? Hold on. No. I have the talking bottle. I have the talking bottle.
Talking bottle.
But basically, is it worse to claim something that you're not, or to sit here and claim that you are going to do all these good things for the public and for private sector businesses, but quite frankly don't know shit about what you're talking about?
Hold on, wait. Let me go to Daniel for 1 second. I don't know what his campaign is doing, but our Van Size came up here. First of all, lied to us right to our face. First of all, the balls you have to lie to people who come here to argue on purpose.
Well, I just want to point out as well to you.
But
to you,
also,
Walter, that
yes,
he
go ahead.
came to me a few minutes after, and
Mhm.
not Arventize, but Daniel. And
Yeah.
I would not ordinarily share these things were I not shit faced, but he came to me just a few minutes ago and he said it's wild that you let Arventize get made fun of by that. And I didn't say anything back, but what I wanted to say and what I will say for those that are going to watch this later is that nobody here is exempt from being made fun of. Not Matrix.
We live and die by our choices, bro.
Nobody here is exempt from being shit on. That's what this whole process is about. So I don't think that it's fair at all to say that we've been shitting on Dan. I think that we've been shitting on everybody equally, including the governor, like several times. And I think that Jewel, something you said earlier, and please excuse my broken sentences, but I felt like every time, and Walter, I felt like every time that you tried to hold Dan to a particular point of policy, he felt like
it was biased.
He felt
like,
personal.
"You're
No,
biased."
but he felt personally
fucking-
attacked. Every time you were like, "But I want to know more," he felt personal. He took it personal. I felt like, and that was just something that I found really unfortunate because I think that we did want to know what Dan thought about things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that just disappointed me. And
We weren't sitting here targeting
There were
him.
times
We're
for
here
both candidates.
scrutinizing him.
Exactly, and there were times for both candidates. VR chill.
Sorry.
He doesn't say anything for the last 20 minutes. He goes,
There were times for both candidates, right? Where we like kind of dug into them a little bit. We were like, "Hey, what do you mean by that?" And they gave us a logical answer, and we were like, "Oh,
Right.
okay." Right? And there was times where they waffled, and we were like, "Well, what the fuck does that mean?" And they couldn't do it.
I want to. I just
Everyone
I'm
just
not
needs to
being
get a
bi-
grip here.
Like I'm not being by like This is a private organization, so I'm allowed to have opinions about who I like.
So true.
So I want to just applaud the governor for a minute, and the reason I want to do that is because every time we grilled Matrix, we got an answer. Every time.
I
And
agree.
even though we grilled Dan and Matrix the same, on one side we're getting an answer and on one side we're not. I can't ignore that. I don't think any.
I would also like to point out I have big respect for Matrix in his campaign for the fact that when grilled about the attorney questions, they deferred to where they got the ideas from. They didn't claim it as their own.
Yeah,
they said it's a working member of the community.
It's about honesty.
And while I personally would have liked to see a more concrete plan for how to impose that, I can respect that they got it from somewhere else and we're trying to implement things that other people, the experts in the field, think are good ideas. That's something
I
we
think
need.
the point here is that you can't run a campaign based on being against something. I think that it's important, and to be fair, Daniel Reagan may still win because it's not up to us sitting on this panel who becomes the next governor. It's up to the people of the state. But when it comes to, whether or not we, but when it comes to I personally I don't think it's fair to run a campaign on being against someone. I think that when it comes to wanting a change, when it comes to wanting something different, I think we're seeing two polar opposites when it comes to the Secretary of State election versus the gubernatorial. On the Secretary of State side, we're seeing an incumbent that's not doing his job. I mean, that's the general gist that I'm getting. But on the gubernatorial side, we're seeing a challenger that, when pressed, doesn't have anything behind "I don't like Matrix."
Here, this is my rhetoric behind it. This is my theory. This is late night talks with Ghoul,
Yes.
Walter, and Large.
Who needs more alcohol? It's me.
Basically,
Bro, I ran out.
I'm not done yet. I'm gonna have a good night tonight.
Okay.
I got Legos to build and more alcohol to drink.
All
right.
Oh, boy.
All right. So essentially, what it seems like is Daniel has these ideas from other people. Like, I'm not saying what Vince Vance said was true, but I'm quoting him. Something around the lines of that Trendlove wrote all of his policies.
I
All
should
I'm
point out too
saying
that
is,
Trendlove has been running slates of candidates in the Senate election.
yeah,
It's
Trendlove,
crazy.
the
It's
Ice Spice
almost a
impersonator?
political party.
That is worth pointing out because that
It's
is part
almost
of
a
this.
political party. Like,
well, they have
we
a
need to
political
understand that
we have actually looked. That is a fair point that you bring up because we have looked into that, and they are almost a party without saying it because they know if they say it, I'm going to stop them. But they don't say it. That's the difference, and it's just
So yeah, my big thing with this entire thing is he hasn't necessarily like defended his policies really well. Like, yeah, there were certain ones that he defended that were like, oh, two cops in a car, no need for a rifle. Let's be real here, dude. If you're a cop in this game and you don't have that M2A on you, you're fucked.
I do want to hear from Jay and BR though. I don't want to hear. I don't want to. I don't want you guys to feel like you aren't being heard. So if you got something to add to the
I'm being
conversation,
heard.
please do.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
His are being heard by the chat.
Yes.
Listen, if you can't use a rifle on duty, I think that's just a skill issue. I mean, if you can't use your para, you just suck at the game.
Dude, BR, if I go to half of your
Fair
YouTube
point.
videos, I'm more than
I
willing
mean-
to bet, like nearly half of that video, you have an M2A on your back.
Bro, I just watched a bus pull into the parking lot.
Jay, what's your
Holy
take?
shit, there's a bus in the parking lot.
I mean,
There's a
I
bus.
think Jay can agree. Anyone who's a good cop
I want to
uses a
hear.
para.
I want to hear from Jay for just a few minutes. What do you think about what's going on for this last few minutes here?
With regard to the gubernatorial election, I can concur that it just seems like the foundation isn't really there for Daniel Reagan. From the surface, I mean, just going to his gubernatorial Discord, it looks cool and stuff, but there's not much quantity. Where's these ideas coming from? How are they going to be implemented effectively? And that type of stuff. And then with the what is it called? The Secretary of State. Again, I also agree on that point where it just seems like there's a lack of anything going on now, and it seems like people again want things to kind of move in a little bit of a different direction. If what's his name, Alex, was to come and become the Secretary of State, I do believe changes may occur. Whether he'll actually follow on his promises, I don't know. We've had a lot of different people come into office and then not do anything they said they do. But it seems like right now with the votes that he might get the decision. If he does, it's just my hope that he actually follows through with his promises.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we all know it's all deep state control, DAO, large, all these guys control
Steve
everything.
Baker.
We all know.
It's Steve Baker. It's Steve
All
Baker.
right. What I am going to say is a last thing here is, Timbo, can we turn the camera onto the two guys with the signs, the Daniel Regan signs in the crowd? Both of those two fellers back there. Can you jump real quick? Jump out of your seat. Do like 2 jumps real quick.
Oh, there's one
No,
of them.
not it's a random, but the other guy. Okay, that one did it, but Mr. Frank didn't. So I don't know. This guy might be an alternate account. I'm just saying, this might be some random guy who's
Before we
employed by the Daniel Regan campaign, and then on top of that,
Well, guys, all I say,
Get your tinfoil hat.
just
I
pinky for
am.
governor. What am I saying?
What I am going to say
Y'all
is that
sleeping.
throughout this town hall, in a sense, we had. I will say Daniel Regan did tag 3 times at everyone in his campaign server, telling everyone to holy shit, to go home, to start campaigning.
You got
holy
this.
Holy fuck, to start campaigning. That's all I'm gonna say is that 3 times throughout this he's tagged. But guys, I'm gonna give us our outro here because I think I'm the most soberest here.
Because I gotta get results.
Before we go, 1 second.
Make sure you
Can I
vote
just
Pinky
get a
next
general? Can I get a feel in the chat? Did you guys like this? Would you like to see more of this?
Because we certainly enjoyed it, and
More
I definitely
alcohol?
yes. Okay.
More alcohol.
On behalf of the panel and behalf of the Palmer Times, I'd just like to thank Timbowalk and everybody from the Palmer Times for supporting this and making this happen, and everybody on the panel for joining me tonight on short notice.
You're welcome.
I know that I just want to let everybody in the chat know that that I planned this today. This was not something that we planned for weeks. This was just something that we threw together in an evening.
Bro, they DM me 20 minutes before. They're like, "You want to be on the panel?"
So the fact that all these guys are willing to come out here, I want to thank all the candidates. I want to thank all of their campaign staffs for supporting this, for being participants in this election, because it is not easy to run for these offices, and the participation from these people in this election is what makes Ridgeway awesome. And I want to thank you for being part of it tonight.
Preach, amen.
Walter, did you see what Mastern said?
I did.
I did not, but I'm just gonna.
I think
But
Timbo.
before we
before we
descend into chaos, I just want to end it here by giving you the final
the results
of the night.
All right, let's go. Come on, Pinky.
Here's what we got. For the night, for the conclusion of the first night of voting, it is 1:02 a.m. in the East, 12:02 a.m. Central. For the gubernatorial election, we have incumbent Governor Matrix OC at 46.8%, staying at the current rate. We have Sheriff Daniel Regan at 53.92, staying at the same rate as well. Going down to the Secretary of State election, we have Alex Neptune's now at 52.3%, and Jason Bornaxis now at 47.7%. So some movement there.
Ooh, yeah, I love movement. Get it? Okay, never mind.
So I just want to let you guys know as well that we did meet before this event, and we discussed making an official projection on behalf of the Palmer Times, but I think we're going to reserve that at this time.
Yep.
I don't think that either of these elections can be called. And I think that the panel would agree with me on that.
Yep.
When it comes to tomorrow, please vote. If you haven't voted, please go do it. Make your voice heard. Go and work for some campaign staff and make your voice a part of this election, because really this is about our future. And I just want to thank everybody from the voters to the viewers tonight for participating. And so I'll let the panel give their final comments, and we'll call it a night.
So, firstly, Techie, my amazing Attorney General, I will
I
be
love
building
Techie.
the Coruscant Guard gunship in Lego.
Yes,
That's my project for
sir.
tonight.
Yes,
Additionally, to
sir.
Matt Stern, who said we should have a show where for every dumb question we either don't get, or every question that doesn't get answered, every dumb question asked to us, we take a shot. Holy shit, I'd be down.
Every
Yeah.
time
Oh, yeah.
the candidate pivots, we take a shot.
That's right. That's gotta AG election. AG election.
Holy shit. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, that's perfect.
I have vodka.
All right.
Bro, we're gonna need a designated streamer. Timbow's gonna have to
Yep.
stay sober.
Tim doesn't have to be sober.
From-
The camera's gonna start shaking.
Okay. From Palmer Boulevard, the Palmer Times headquarters, this is the Palmer Times election night 2024. Ridgeway decides. Thank you all very much and have a great evening.
Bye, guys.
Good night.
Make sure to drink
Bye.
alcohol.
No,
Alcohol
don't
is a
drink
gift.
alcohol.
Alcohol is a
Yeah.
All right.